This stuff stinks and I'm tired of chasing after it. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Monday. This is me, Carolyn from Crafting with Glorious Purpose. We're here, we make unique gifts for you or for that special someone. This is the week of the 27th, and I am going to be working on a bunch of little things. So this is going to be a kind of a mishmash week again. But we have some things to finalize and some stock to replenish. I realized that I forgot stickers, so I put those on my list for this week coming up, but I was able to get those done yesterday. So I gave you a sneak peek of the ones that we needed to replenish. So I added my new Shetland. And I also added the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So I have those two I cut to put in the mix. And I also needed to replenish some of my cat stickers. My Doberman does very well. So I needed to replace that one. And my Dachshund, Dachshund, Wiener Dog, whatever you call it. And the cat ones were the black tuxedo and the white long-haired. So I had space, so I threw those on there as well because I knew that was low. And I'm gonna look and see what other ones. I did sell out of my penguin stickers, but I only made one of each of those, only because they were kind of out of season. They had snow hats and stuff on, so I had somebody that was really into penguins and bought all of them. So I might replenish them for winter markets, but that's not a priority. So I have space that I can put new stickers, or so I might look and see what stickers I was looking to kind of replenish and take care of doing that. But anywho, as a side note, I finished my Aussie shirt and I'm wearing it right now. So what first started out with a bunch of dots, those that do rhinestones will understand. And I think I've showed you guys before, like how you do it, but for this design, I was unable to use the software that I normally do because it was so intricate and I wanted it small. I ended up cutting you cut it out of the different materials. So if you've ever worked with flocked vinyl, it's soft and it's got like a fuzz to it. And then they make the heat transfer version of it. But I need to use the kind that is adhesive flocked vinyl so that you can put it down on your table and reuse it over and over again. So it's this blue stuff. So I cut it out of this, and some of it I didn't completely pull all of the circles out, only because I looked at it and was like, this thing is huge. Like, this would be way too big on a shirt. So I ended up going through my stash and found out that I had, so these are size SS10. They make different size rhinestones, and I actually wanted to do the design in black rhinestones because I thought that would be really cool. But I had one pack of blue velvet, which was a very dark blue, in SS6, which is the smaller stones. And the whole sizes are much smaller, which would make this design a lot smaller. So that's what I did, was I made it much smaller. So that versus a full sheet, a lot better on a shirt. I'm not a big person, so when I'm a big giant design, but with that said, everything went well. I have to say that brushing in SS6 rhinestones, not my thing. They're very tedious. They don't flip as easy. So I had a lot of ones that were upside down. I had to manually go in and flip. These ones, once you brush them in, for the SS10s, they fall right into the holes. I picked up this vinyl Magic Flock. So I get my rhinestones from the Rhinestone World. It's a really cool little business. If you do rhinestones and you don't deal with them, check them out. If you're looking to get into rhinestones, check them out. They are based in Florida, and they do tutorials here on YouTube. I've watched them for quite a few years, and they run deals all the time. So I bought a whole bunch of rhinestones, and I actually got, like I said, one of them that had the kit, or one of the bundles that I bought came with a surprise SS6 in there, and I wasn't sure what to do with them, and I'm glad I saved them, because these saved me from having a shirt with a giant, or wasting all the time that I did and having to figure out how to make that smaller. It's very hard to do when you're doing circles to have it make sense, especially lettering. But I used the last of the Magic Flock that I had for them, and the shipping takes a little longer because it goes through FedEx. And, you know, the Magic Flock is pretty cheap, but I didn't want to pay all the shipping. So I found a seller on Amazon that had these as already, and I think these end up, I don't know what they measure, but it's like, it's a little smaller than an 8.5 by 11, but they're sheets, and they come with the transfer tape that you need to put on top of it to pick up the stones to press it onto the shirt. And I gotta say that this stuff stinks. And it's not the quality, don't get me wrong, it works just great. It actually has an odor that is disgusting. And the adhesive on the back is so tacky that I think I still feel it on my hands. Like when you peel it off, it's supposed to be reusable. And I have to give the credit to, you know, the Rhinestone World, because theirs is perfect. This one, so sticky that I actually had to designate one of my mats. Like when I put it on, like you peel it off of here and you put it directly on the mat. And then when you peel it up, all the excess, all the dots should stay behind, which they did. And when you're cutting with a Cricut, there are some nuances where it doesn't fully cut the circle, so you kind of have to pick them off, and that's what happened here. But 90% of the stones come off. There may be like 20 that I would have had to pick off. Same thing with this one. You know, I went through, peeled off the ones that stayed behind, but it left such a residue on my cutting mat that everything was sticky. And then my table, I can actually see this design on the table, so now I gotta wipe my table down. It took a while to wash my hands to get that oil off. Like it's almost oily, sticky. So I probably won't get these ones from that seller again. I might look and see if there's another brand, because these will run in a pinch, but yeah, it was not fun to work with at all. So with that said, I have completed my Aussie shirt, and I am currently wearing it. So I will give you a glimpse of what it looks like. So this color is really cool. So let me put you in, I'm going to get in front of the window so you could actually see the sparkle, hopefully. So here is the actual shirt with all the sparkle. It is what's cool is when it goes a certain way, it looks almost white, but it's actually dark blue. So it turned out great. I couldn't be more happy. So now I have another shirt for in my rotation for Aussie. I forgot I made, I was going through my shirts yesterday and I forgot all about, I do have another Aussie shirt that I had made. It was my first attempt at doing a bleached shirt. So I forgot I had that, but it's I got the shirt at Hobby Lobby. It's the ones that have the white, they have like a white strip around the arms, almost like a baseball kind of shirt-ish. But it was black with the white bands, and I made the decal. It's just simply his name. It says Aussie and Osborne on it. And I made it out of vinyl, made them as a stencil and put them on a shirt, and tried doing the bleach spray. And it gave it this like cool auburn, because obviously with black, you get the colors. You don't really get a true white bleach. And I didn't want to leave it on too long because it was a softer style shirt. So I was afraid it would eat through. So I sprayed it with that and did like just, you know, it has like the stain kind of pattern. I'll have to find it and show you guys. But yeah, that one turned out really cool. And I do wear that from time to time, and I totally forgot about it. But yeah, I have that in my my concert shirt. So this one will get thrown into the rotation with my Poison and my Extreme shirt that I made. And I would love to do more bands. So I have a huge stack of rhinestones to play with. So, and the only thing that was holding me back was I was cutting it all out of cardstock because I didn't have magic blocks. So now that I have a few sheets of this to play with, I can actually try some things out. So with that said, I got to jump on to work. But I think for this week, what I'm looking to do is I uploaded my video for this week. So that's taken care of. I need to work on entering stuff in Square. And I did do a little bit of an overhaul, not necessarily overhaul, but added some things to Big Cartel, which I can kind of talk to you about at lunch. And then this week is going to be new bandanas. So I got to work on that at lunchtime. So that's the only thing that I keep moving further down. So with the summer coming, I want to have something for these summer markets that are up. So my next one is August 13th. So we're going to get something new for that 13th market. What threw me off was last time was the Christmas in July, and not that at any point was a bad thing. It was just that I definitely want to put something in. Obviously we won't have the Christmas stuff, so it'll be not as crazy busy on my table, and I can actually put out some new bandanas, I think. So that is what we got for this week, and I am going to get logged on to work, and we will see how this day develops. So while I was at Michael's this weekend, I found something in their teacher section, whatever you want to call it. They had these little easeled frames, which I have one for my tent that I accept cash and credit card. Since I just got the tap for Square, if you saw last week's video, I got the little Square reader for tap. I want to make sure that I have that displayed on a sign. So, and the other thing is the sign that I had, so I don't know if you remember it. Some of you may or may not have little ones, but when my son was little, Home Depot did, or still does, I believe, on the weekends. I think it's like the first Saturday of the month or something like that. They do like a little build it workshop, and he built a little sign that was a chalkboard with a frame kind of like this. Didn't have the legs or the kickstand. It was just a square. And it can sit up by itself, and it had like a little rope that you added. And since he didn't want it anymore, that's what I use at my events. I cleaned it up with the chalk and stuff and actually put vinyl on it that said cash. And then I have my Square little sticker to put on there. And the wind always knocks it over, or it gets bumped and it falls off or falls over. So I always have to lean it against something. So I was thinking when I saw this, that this gives me a little more real estate, but also keeps it up higher. And it also has the kickstand, so it will stop it from being so easily knocked over. I'm sure the wind will catch it and it'll fall over if the wind's right. But I'm going to try making, I still have rose gold vinyl, and I might actually use the stuff that I used for my my glorious neon over here, since it's a little bit sparkle. I still have some of that left. I might use that to put cash and card on here for my events. So I'm actually really excited that I found this. It was actually already marked down like 50% or so. So I think it was ended up being like $4, $5, something like that. So I got my Square all charged so that I can give that a test and make sure that everything connects and works with my my account. I got it last week, but never got to plug it in to try it. So got it charged overnight. It should be all ready to go. And this way I can make sure that that works. The other thing I picked up this weekend, and actually I think it's over here. Yeah. I was at Five Below, and I saw these metallic gel pens, and these are really awesome. I figured with the upcoming markets and the gift card holders and things that I could actually try adding in a little bit of sparkle. And this has like 12 different colors. The picture doesn't really do it justice. They all look kind of brown. But it's got a nice assortment of colors. So we've got, oh, this one will come out. They're all like, got like a shimmer color to them. And they go really nice on like black. Like I was trying it on a piece of black scrap. And yeah, these, come on. I'm trying to get this last one out. There we go. The red one is stuck. There we go. So those are the colors. And I thought those would be really cool, especially like some of the more like neon-y colors, like the pinks and the orange and things like that. And they had them only for $4. I mean, as you can kind of see on here. But I did try it out, and they looked really cool. So I'm going to hold on to these for working on, you know, variously the different gift card holders. Ultimately, I'd like to come up with some other ones for other events, you know, that's not just holidays. Maybe doing ones that are birthday. Because I've had people ask me, like when they were going through them around the holidays, they would ask if I had birthday. And I was like, ooh, I don't. They're just Christmas themed ones. So I might get a few of those out just because people are walking through markets looking for gifts. They could always scrap one of those. So they make great teacher gifts, you know, things like that for copies and things like that. So I might make ones that are just like thank yous and ones that are just generic. So I could still use the coffee mug theme, but the saying on it could not be holiday related. It could be just generic. So with that said, I have a few minutes before I got to log into work. I went through and I stamped the back of all of my stickers like I normally do with my little stamper. So these will get replenished back into my binder. And, you know, like I said, I had made the newer pets as well. So I have those. I actually handwrite on the back of these the number of the dog for the stickers so that checkout's a little easier, because like sometimes when you're in the heat of things, you're like, you draw a blank on a dog. And also with my son and my husband not being as familiar with the dog breeds as I am, they will, it'll make checkout a little easier for them too. So I'm going to work on doing that in Square, getting these numbers written on the back. That way we can type them in real easy, and people don't have to wait around for us to type in different dogs or try to figure out what the dog is. Plus, without putting the name of the dog on there, because like some people might look at this and say it looks more like a collie. They like think it looks more like their dog and it's a collie versus a Shetland. So they may grab this one too and not realize that, you know, I mean, you're obviously not going to mistake some of these dogs for other dogs like the, you know, Dachshund. But with that said, I'm going to jump into Square. I'm going to get the codes, write these on here, and then I can stick them in the inventory and get them in my sticker book. That way these don't get damaged. I don't like leaving them sit out for too long. And then we can kind of cross that off our list, because I know I can get that done before I have to log in here. So let's get that going. so this was, I had to go grab it because I was getting my binder. This is the sign that I have from Home Depot that my son had made. So it was a simple, you know, putting the back on it and stuff. But yeah, I just need to put, you know, that I accept Square or cash and put the Visa and stuff. And I think I might actually cut the logos out of the vinyl just to kind of put those on there so everything kind of matches and you don't have this big awkward thing. But yeah, it stands up on its own, but it's very easy to be knocked over. So if somebody bumps the table, it falls in. And I'm tired of chasing after it. So I think that other one will work perfectly fine. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to get all these stickers put in. We got them all into Square. We added the 2 new items. So those have new SKU numbers. So we are actually on Hippie Cat or Hippie Dog 83 and 84. So that's a good chunk of dogs. I think I have 2 different breed or 2 different pugs. Lab, I have, you know, a chocolate lab, a brown, or like a brown chocolate lab. I have a black lab, and then I think I have, there's a couple breeds where I have different colors where, you know, obviously if you're doing a decal, a lab's a lab, you don't see the color, so it changes a little. So I did break over 80 different dog breeds in my stickers for sure. Remember what goes here, so now I'm gonna have to look and see. There's a little sticker there that's sold out. Yeah, I have 2 of the little pennies left. That one only needs 1. So I have 2 spaces there that I can fill with another sticker. Yeah, so I think that's where I will put those. So all these are taken care of and I have time to spare. So I think what I'm going to do is tidy up a little bit. I've got about 5 minutes left. I think I'm going to get something to wipe down the sticky part of my table to try to get this residue off. And then I have to log into work, which super excited about, obviously. It's Monday and the first thing you want to do is get into work. But with that, I will catch you at lunch. And we will try to put a dent in the rest of our list with trying to work on some dog bandanas. So I'm going to try while I'm sitting here at work. You know, I always keep like a notepad or something next to me to kind of jot down ideas and see if something comes to me, write down some ideas and we'll get started. If not, we're going to work on our gotcha day ones, because those are ones I know I want to make, but I haven't gotten around to it. I do have a design made. I haven't looked at it in a while, so I'm sure I'm going to look at it and go, So I think I might take a peek at it and see if it's something I want to kind of revisit. If not, we're going to go with it. And I just have to get them cut and get the fabric ready for that. I do have a whole drawer of fabric here. I do have this color, which I absolutely love, but vinyl really doesn't show up. I can't use white. I can't use black. If I use a color, I'm afraid that it may not stand out enough. So I have a whole bunch of this, which I bought with the intent to make dog bandanas. And yeah, I'm having a hard time finding what will show up on this at a distance for a read. So might have to do some thinking on that one as well. It would have to be something big and dark, which would count out for the small dogs, because then it won't be really big. So it'll have to be a bold design. But we'll cross that bridge at lunchtime. So I will catch you then. It is lunchtime. I just got back. I ran up to Michael's real quick. Got some green cardstock. I picked up a couple different colors. I do like this dark green. I think that might look nice as a mug. And I got the green that I normally, I normally get the Hobby Lobby green, but this is pretty darn close to the type of green I had. This one's like I said, a little darker. I do have some very lime green, so if I wanted to do a design for that, but I want to keep these as close to the ones that I already sell on the website. I mean, the colors will be different, obviously, from viewing online versus to being in person, but I wanted to pick these up so that I could get the green ones cut, and then it will be just inking and assembling for the cards after this point. So that will be a huge cross off on my list. Since I just got back, I'm going to go make myself a sandwich, and then I will come back down here and start working on some other stuff. So I think the biggest thing that I want to get crossed off my list, not necessarily today, but getting all of those in square, all my products, probably is my next biggest thing. So I have the new decals to add, the new keychains that are replenished, and you know, stuff like that. I did add the keychain for the Shetland and the Staffordshire as a keychain, so I need to update that listing on my Big Cartel, because right now the image has thumbnails of all of the dogs, so you can kind of see what the keychain would look like, and I didn't have those two in there, so I have to redo the page. I almost finished it yesterday, but I do have them listed in there. I just don't have the image done, so I'm going to do that today here at lunch, finish that, cross that off the list, and then we'll be ready to, I think I'm going to set these up to cut while I'm doing that, and that'll probably conclude my lunch, since I did go out. That kind of took a chunk out of my hour. So it's all good. It's just a Monday, easing back into the work week. So I'm going to go grab that sandwich, and then we'll start making these gift card holders. I don't know what this is. That is not correct. That is correct. That is not correct. Okay. Well, that's garbage. And that is, well, at least I caught it before I cut the other one. All right then. Well, why can't things be easy? And I hate breaking in new mats for this reason. Like, it's just too sticky. And this is the light tack, and I can't get the paper off. And then everything just has this like sticky to it. Like, I can't pick things up because it's stuck to the table. And I just cleaned the table. That rhinestone stuff, I had to get like the crud cutter out and get that residue off. Like, I could still see outlines of that on here. Like, that stuff's no joke. Well, instead of getting 4, I got 3, but at least they cut perfect. And my Cricut didn't do what it did last time, which was the hesitating. If you watched last week's, it hesitated on every single bend. And this one, it just cut perfect. So maybe it was just having a bad day. But I am going to have to keep an eye out, though, if I want to continue with Cricut or if I want to get a silhouette or what, because I mean, I hate to, because I'm going to have everything for Cricut, to not get a Cricut, but who knows? Who knows? Wish there was an easier way to cut these, but I can only get 2 up on a 12 by 12. So unfortunately, there's a little bit of waste, but I will use these for gift tags and things like that. So, I mean, it's not going to get thrown away, but wish I could get 3 at least out of this, but this size does not work for that. So, and I like to trim this stuff up while I'm doing it, because otherwise I just end up with a big piece that I have to go through and do. So this way I can just take care of it and not have to worry that I have to sit down and make a day to go through all this and cut the scraps. I'm going to keep this. Like, I don't know where this came from. Unless maybe it wasn't flattened. But yeah, I don't know where that came from because it looks right on the screen. So I don't know what that is. Whatever. But I can use it for scraps for sure. So I've got about 5 minutes left of my lunch. Got these done. That can go with my pile. And then I just have to enter some stuff into Square. So I think I can do the keychains pretty quickly because it will be just replenishing the ones that have sold and then adding the new items. So I'm going to jump on doing that and call it a day. Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. We didn't do much last night. I was on my own for dinner, so I went out because I was like, you know what? I just need to enjoy the nice warm day. It's been very, very warm here, so we've got a little heat streak going through, and the AC down here runs, and it's so cold. The rest of the house is comfortable, but it's so cold downstairs, and yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore. I needed to go out and warm up, so went and got myself some dinner. And then I sat and was binge watching The Osbournes from start to finish, and I forgot how funny that show is. So, anywho, back to the crafty world. So, I have an hour before I have to log into work. So, what I'm going to do today is get started on some, I think the last thing that I had to do was finish up the sticker background for my 2 new dog breeds to add. I realized I made the dog breeds, but I have the dogs online, so I need to update the stickers on there. I have them in my book. I have them updated in Square. So my Big Cartel is the other place that I need to update those. So I'm going to do those real quick. And then the last thing that I have is to export the PNGs to put the photos in there. So I have them listed in there to be purchased, but there's no visual of them. So once I get that image done, I can check this off my list. I got a big chunk of stuff put in Square yesterday. So the only things that I have left are to add in the vinyl decals and make sure that these are in, and then getting these on the site as well. So I want to have these on. I'm going to look and see if I have room on the website to add them. With Big Cartel, I am limited to 5 images per product. So my way around it is doing a collage so that when you click on the thumbnail, it has what they look like. So if I have room on the collage, I'm going to throw this one on there. If not, I might look and see if there's one that I can retire and put this on instead. But I do have to get these listed in my Square for my in-person events. So those, I think, are what I'm going to do here in the morning for this last hour, or for this, hour morning type of thing, is work on finishing getting this in and getting this in. And if I have time, redoing my dog sheet. So I need to add 2 more, which I have plenty of room down here at the bottom. I can add the 2 breeds, but the Shetland, I have 2 versions of that dog. So I'm going to add all 3 of them on here, because in some cases, so obviously for the vinyl, I have a Shetland, but it will look like both of the breeds of Shetland. So it's the same with a lab. The color doesn't matter if it's a black lab or whatever, but on the keychain and the stickers, I have the color variations on there. So this is why I made this little sheet. Since I had the data merge, I did the same thing. I had to do the columns, and then I put, if I had it as a coaster, a keychain, a decal, and a sticker. So of those, the only ones that I did not make every breed to bring in person because it would take up space is the coasters. So I picked the popular breeds, but I had them available on my website. So I put that they were available online only, so that if we are at an event and someone asks, I can say, yes, we have that dog. I just don't have it with me. If you order it today, we'll ship it for free. So that's kind of how I was treating those, just so that I didn't have to have 80 sets of coasters of different dogs. Like, I can keep those on hand if I do make sales with those or get custom ones. I have them ready to go. So I'm going to get started on these. Like I said, this would be a bonus if I can get this done. If not, I can add that in anytime. It's, an easy enough to do. So let's get started working and getting these photos up on Big Cartel. So here's our site. This is our listing with our vinyl stickers. I have a group shot just to kind of show what the dogs look like. This was taken with all the pups together. Just a handful of the more popular breeds just to kind of draw people in. And then I have the listing photo here that has each of the pups. So I have 3 pages that has all of them to choose from. Here's our listing. So this is what we had before we added the new pups in there. So I'm going to refresh. And so we have our main picture. We've got our first picture, second picture, and our third one that has our 3 new pups on there. So it changed a little bit. I also have them listed in here. So I have the 2 Shetlands, and then I have the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So these are all listed in, so you can select those and then add them to cart. And this way they can see all the pups that are available in what they will look like, but also a better representation for the homepage on how they will look. As a side note, I was also able to get my reviews fixed. So I know we had talked about that. So what I have now is a part on my site. So this was what Farah did. It automatically integrated in so you could write a review here. So I got to figure out how to get that turned off. But I made a page that says reviews, and I'm able to have you leave a review with Google on here. So I have all my reviews that were, so like it integrates it at the bottom and at the top. But I also have my other ones that I remade versus having them look different for both. So as of right now, I have these in as a JPEG and put the reviews in here that I have on my home page already. So Farah puts them in as little squares like that. And I changed it to match the Google reviews, so everything had the pink speech bubble, just so it looked a little more cohesive and not so like 2 different things. So I have, anytime somebody leaves me a Google review, it'll just keep populating on this, so you can kind of scroll through and see all of them. Great, everything is entered, done. The only thing left is this, and I have about 15 minutes left. So I should be able to add this in and probably not get it laminated and everything just yet, but I can actually get it printed upstairs and still have time to get logged into work. So I'm going to work on that, and then this clears off my desk. I finally got rid of all of the decals. Everything's in square, in Big Cartel, ready to go. Morning and welcome to Thursday. So I didn't do anything yesterday, and I shouldn't say I didn't do anything. I didn't film anything, and I didn't really work on anything creative per se. I woke up yesterday to watch the funeral procession for Ozzy, so I didn't log in the morning, or I did that before I logged into work in the morning, and then I didn't I didn't do much in the afternoon either. Just kind of took the day. It was a little heavy day for sure. But I did get last night the package that was supposed to arrive with my clips and dog keychain charms early, because it was supposed to be here on the 4th and it came last night. And I shouldn't say it came last night. Had I known, I would have grabbed it, but it came in my mailbox. So USPS delivered it, which I thought was odd, but whatever. So I ended up getting two boxes of the thermal labels in pink. So that's what these ones are. These are the bigger labels. These aren't the Munbin brand, but they are a little glossier than the Munbin ones, so I'm hoping that they work. But I bought two because I needed to hit the threshold for the free shipping, but I know I'll use them. So figured I'd grab these while I could. I think they were like $3, maybe. I did get my little paw prints charms, and then I got 100 of these quilting clips, which was, I think, $2.99 for all of these. And yeah, that'll keep me set for a while. I've kind of gotten over using my pins. I've had my pins for, oh God, when I was sewing in high school. I bought a set because I was all about, like, you know, when you have home ec, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this and this, and and then you either stay on that route or you did what I did. I went into art school and forgot all about sewing until now. I'm trying to get back into doing a little bit of it, and I remember some of the stuff that I learned. But all my pins are like, none of them are straight. They're all bent because I put them in like heavy canvas at some points, and so I'm getting used to using these clips now. So this pack is going to come in handy for sure. So wanted to show you my little Amazon haul because it's called Amazon haul. I also last night worked on my niece's birthday is this weekend. So I wanted to make her a rhinestone shirt. She loves playing softball. So I have a design that I had gotten from the Rhinestone World, which is where I get my rhinestones from. And it is a heart that looks like a softball. And depending on the color stones you put in, I did the yellow for softball, but you could do the white for baseball. So it's interchangeable. I'm going to put that on a white shirt. So I have the stones brushed in. I have the yellow, and then I have the red for the laces. I am going to try cutting a scatter. And by scatter, I mean like it starts with the heart and then it fades out with different stones pattern, you know, just kind of like a burst, if you will. I'm going to see what that looks like. I'm not sure what color stones I would use for that. I'm wondering if I might use the red to tie in the laces. I don't want to use an oddball color, but I will have to go through what colors I have, and then we can put that together. I kind of shelved doing the bandanas only because I'm in such a mental block with the bandanas for right now. So I'm just going to step away. I did some doodling. None of them are speaking to me. So I'm having a step away and coming at it with a clean mind another time. So I'm going to work on cutting out this design, and I'm going to give you a quick peek here and show you what this looks like. And then we're going to send it to the Cricut to cut. I'm not going to use the magic flock only because I don't feel like cleaning everything again using it. I'm just going to use cardstock. because I have scraps of that and it's easy enough to cut. So, and there's not a lot of stones to brush in, and I don't know if I will use this again. So if it was something I was going to use over and over again, I might change my mind. But, you know, I think, I mean, even with this template, I brushed it in on cardstock, so it worked. But it's a smaller design. Now, something intricate like the Aussie one I did, that's the only reason why I went and bought the flock, because that would have been a nightmare to brush in those stones in cardstock, because it was a nightmare to do it with those smaller stones in the magic flock, which is the stuff you're supposed to use for it. So I'm going to show you real quick the design, and then we're going to send it to cut, and then we can press this and I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the scatter. It is actually really cute. So this design, the actual yellow heart will go inside of it, and then this just fades out to like different little spires. So I think it's going to turn out cool. Okay, so this is done cutting. It looks like some of the dots didn't like popped up immediately, which is I guess a good thing, but then some of these look like they didn't move, so I'm hoping that's not a problem. So let's see how this comes off. Oh, it looks like it cut them. You want to go very carefully when you use cardstock like this, because what happens is it'll want to tear in between the holes, and you don't want that. So let's see. Yeah, it looks like some of these did not cut through, so I'm not sure why that is. These blades are driving me absolutely batty. I really don't want to cut this again. So let's take this over to the table and see if we can figure out what's going on. Here is so when you're left with all the dots, even with the regular magic flock, these little tools come in handy, so you can just scrape them right off. And I have this little garbage container. I got it for Christmas one year, and it's been huge help in this aspect of little pieces that I can just slide right off the table, and I don't have to worry about where they're located or they're going to fall on the floor. So this mat was extra sticky too, so I don't know what's going on with this, why it didn't go through. But all right, let's take this over to the other table here and see what's going on. Alright, so from what I'm seeing, it looks like it did not cut through the entire way. Jeez. Let's see if I can get my little weeding tool and poke these out. Hopefully this will work. Normally these don't stay on top like this. They stick on the mat and stay behind. So I think something with that mat caused it. But like I said, there's not a lot on here, so hopefully I can get these done real quick. I have the press heated up. They go, yes, that's not cut through. They press at 325 for 15 seconds. Yes, some of these are popping through and some are not. See, and that's what happens when you're really crafting, is things don't always go as expected or as you want them to. So this is definitely not how this should be. It should be maybe one or two left behind, and this is
not how this should be. But we're going to keep going here because it looks like some of these are coming off, some are not. So I'm going to see if it, yeah, see, this is the main part of the design, and it's like a strip right here that did not cut through. So maybe there was a bubble in the... Alright, we'll come back to this. Let's get this thing pressed since we got the heat press going, and we will give this a shot. So this is basically what you're left with. What a mess. Once you do that and you brush the rhinestones in, and I use one of these little felt paint. It's for like doing corners when you're painting. It's real soft and it's perfect to brush the rhinestones in, working in a circle. You'll get better results using that, and then you won't have to use, not like you use tweezers and put it in every single one. So you're left with this transfer, and then you put the sticky part down and it'll pick up all the stones. So the adhesive's on the back. So I have my yellow and I have my red layers, and they're ready to go. So I just have to peel them off and put them on the shirt. So we're gonna go and we're gonna take care of at least getting the ball on the shirt. If it looks good, then we can mess with this scatter and see if we can get it to work. If not, I still have this other side, so maybe I can just recut it on the other side and see what happened. But it's something with the way it was on the board, I think. But let's go over to the press. All right, we're in the room of darkness. So we got this on the press. I did this as a quick press to get the moisture out, and we're going to press the heart first. There is a way where you could do this where you put down the transfer, you pick up the one stone, so then you line it up and pick up the second, so you do one press. But unfortunately, I am not that gifted doing this just yet to get them all together on one, so I'm not doing that. But if you can look on the back of this, you can see there's the sticky part. So it's almost like it's just a regular transfer with a carrier sheet. So I'm going to eyeball this in the center, and I'm going to do about 3 fingers from the top collar. So this can go up a little bit. And this is for a child, so I mean, obviously it needs to go up a little. Like that. So that's what we're looking at here. If I can get it in the frame. And we're about 3 fingers up. Sit you down here. So since this has the carrier sheet on it, you do not need to put a sheet on it. But if you were going to press where there's exposed stones, you're gonna definitely want to use a Teflon sheet. So I'm going to tack this down for a couple seconds, probably like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm only doing about half the time because we're going to do a second press with the red. So you don't want it to overheat and the glue gets overheated. So I like to use my bottom of my shirt to try to cool it off a little bit before I peel. Also pushes down the stones a little. And then you gently peel, making sure that none of them are stuck behind. You just want it to stick just enough. And that worked perfect. And now I can take the second transfer and I can line up where the laces go. If I can get it started. So then I have my laces, which are separate. I'm going to bring it over a little closer here so you can kind of see. But yeah, this should line up perfectly, which it does. And you got to just eyeball it in between the stones here, because you don't want to press on top of a stone because that ain't going to work. Looks like one of my stones moved on me. So you can use your fingernail or you can use the tweezers and kind of slide it back over. Because you don't want to press it on top of another one. Let's see if that worked. And that one feels fine. This one looks like there's some extra stone on it. So there, I'll just take it off. And then since this whole design is covered, we're going to go ahead and just press it with the full time and temperature. So once again, cool it down as best as you can, because it's still going to be a little warm, so you want to make sure that the glue is a little cooler before you dry, or you try peeling it off. There you go. And this transfer tape can be reused over and over again. If you could see, there was some black on this. It was the shirt that I pressed with my Aussie. So there you go. One rhinestone softball shirt. So I think the scatter might look really nice around this if I can get it to work. So we're going to come back and visit that again. But for now, we're going to call this one done. So we got our pressed shirt with our, hopefully you can kind of see that sparkle. It is machine washable, so that's a good thing too. So it can go in the machine, and I'm hoping that she likes it. So she will be getting this weekend, so you will be seeing this on Monday, so it'll be all good. But yeah, not too bad. I hope that hope this kind of helps you guys out a little in understanding how these work. If you'd like a real start and finish tutorial, I certainly can do that. The nice thing about these is that you know, you can do these with vinyl as well. So like if you had like maybe a glitter or something, you could do mix the rhinestones in with a transfer, or you could mix it in with possibly DTF. I haven't tried that, but that might be an option as well. I know you can do it with sublimation. I've done that where I've done, my other niece was into gem from the 80s. And I made her a gem shirt for Christmas, and it had, gem, truly outrageous, the logo, and then I embellished around it with rhinestones. And it turned out really cute, and she loved it. So I think I'm going to leave you here. I have about 10 minutes, actually less than 10. I got about 5 minutes to get logged into work. I'm going to keep looking at this and trying to figure out what happened here. I don't know if it needs it. And actually, now that I'm looking at this looks bigger than the heart. So I might have to remeasure this and see, because this looks really huge, and see what happened. But I might just leave it at just that, because I think it's simple enough that I think she might like that. And then I don't have to go through my big stash of rhinestone trying to figure out what color works best. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Simple. She's a small girl, so she's not going to need anything too flashy. But that's where we're going to go. So I will catch you maybe tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to catch you today at lunch, but I think I definitely will catch you tomorrow. And we'll sign the vlog off. Hopefully, you know, maybe an epiphany will happen and I'll have some kind of direction to go with these dog bandanas. But I just worked this morning also promoting
on Instagram and Facebook for Wolfstock. They started to share some stuff on their page, so I made sure that I got that stuff out and shared on my page to kind of boost some interest. And then as of next week, I will be promoting heavily for the upcoming 13th Moon Market in Music. So that will start to get shared out and put out on my Instagram and my Facebook. So I don't want to log into work, but here we are. So I will catch you later. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday. We finally made it to Friday. I gotta say, this week has been kind of all over the place, a little bit of a train wreck, but I do believe I got a good bit of stuff done. I worked a little last night on some dog bandanas. I tried just kind of doodling and trying to come up with something. And since I was having a hard time, I decided that that's the direction I was going. So I'm going to try. I figured, so my shop doesn't do, I mean, we have some funny and some sassy sayings and some things that mean something if they're not, blatant, but I don't do any swearing, or I keep my stuff PG, just because when I do in-person events, I get that nervous feeling when people with kids come up to a booth that has swearing in it, and it makes me uncomfortable. And I don't want people to feel like they can't come in my booth because they have kids. So I don't have anything that has obscenities, or not that I don't enjoy them or say them. I just want to keep my shop PG. So I think that this is a good compromise where it's just something funny. You know what it means. But it's more fun, I think. So I'm thinking I'm using that on that plaid. So I am going to give this a cut on vinyl, and since the backing's clear, obviously, I'm going to see what it looks like when it's weeded. Will it be shown from far away if I did it in black? I believe I have enough black to do them. I could also cut it in white and see if white shows up, but I think there's more white on that pattern than there is black. So I think black probably will be the way to go, because it will show up on the white, it will show up on the light gray, and it should show up on that darker gray as well. So that is going to be, I think, the bandana that we will be having for the next coming show. So I'm going to make this in the gray pattern, or the gray checkered, and then I'm trying to think of how to do this for the tie one. I think for the tie one, I could colorize it so that because it's going to be all white. Maybe I'll sample that pattern and recreate it in Illustrator with the squares. So it does have like a line texture in it. So that might be a little difficult, but you can kind of see that. But I could do that checkered color in the background as like a swoosh, like I do with my other dog bandanas that are over the collar, or the tie ones. And then it could just be sublimated. Like I can put that over top of it and even do like a little bit of a white outline around it so that it pops a little more. But I think I might recreate this color or this pattern behind it so that it ties it together so they look like they belong together. But I do like the way it turned out. So I am going to work on that, I think, this afternoon. I do have a little bit of a shorter morning here today. I do need to get logged in for a meeting, even though I'm on a later shift, so I'll just have to extend my lunch. But that is my plan of attack for today. is to try to work on that. And if it's all systems go, then I can get the rest of these batch cut and do a set. I want to at least have 2 on hand of each size. And then what ends up happening when I do the 2 mediums and the 2 smalls, the extra that I have is the perfect size for extra smalls. So I can have some of those on hand, but I don't bring larges or extra larges to the medium is more of a medium / large. I mean, it's pretty much the same size. There's not much of a difference between the two. Extra large would be your Great Danes and the bigger, really big dogs. And there's not very many people that even ask me for bandanas for the larger dogs. So I have them, I make them, I just don't keep them for in person. So I even have them on my website as special order, because I'm not going to make them, because just like the extra smalls, I don't make, I have the fabric available to make them, but I don't get a lot of sales on the extra smalls. It's usually medium and small. So I can make them if they need them, but I'm not going to keep them on hand. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to work on that this afternoon. I'm probably not going to break in again unless something changes, but I think I'm going to sign the vlog off here. And I hope that you guys got something out of this one. This one was, like I said, a little all over the place, but I do think that we are in really good shape for our upcoming show. Next week, I'm going to work on setting up the table, just so, since I'm not going to have what I had last time, so that will be, minus the Christmas stuff and the tree and everything else. So it should go back to a normal table setup, nothing too crazy. And there are a few things I think that I might bring just to see if I can get rid of, like those dog glasses, or I can take them with me to the dog show at Bark at the Park, or not Bark at the Park, Wolfstock. But we'll see. So I'm gonna work on those, and then hopefully catch you next week. We will be week before market and trying to tie up loose ends, like making sure things work. And hopefully I'll have some more stuff to show you. And then I'll let you know how my niece liked her shirt for her party tomorrow. So, all right, I'm going to let you go because I want to just keep rambling. And I will see you next week. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and hope to see you next week. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I try to do these every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, so that way you have the week to digest. I know it can be a lot. So I will catch you next week, and have an awesome weekend. Bye.